Hello and welcome to SCAN's Community Connections. I'm your host, Tom Hayes, and in my day job, I'm Director of Customer and Community Relations at New Jersey Natural Gas, but I also serve on the board at SCAN and happy to be part of this wonderful program. And I always have the pleasure of working with such great guests that come on, but today we have an exceptional person, again, in Jodi Grinwald, who is a wearer of many hats in terms of what she does in the community with the nonprofit world. I know she's been involved with nonprofits leadership for over 15 years and does such great work. So Jodi, welcome to SCAN's Community Connections.
Oh, thank you so much, Tom. I so appreciate that. Yes, you wear hats too, right? So together.
Yeah, we'll have to start a hat company together.
Perfect.
When people come in, I don't want to wear any of those hats.
Exactly, right? They come with a lot of weight attached to them.
Yeah. So now you've worked for like national nonprofit organizations in your tenure. And what made you decide to launch actually your own nonprofit?
So yes, I am the CEO and co-founder of the Zzak G Applaud Our Kids Foundation, and working for those national nonprofits definitely was a great teaching opportunity for me, never thinking that I was ever going to co-launch an organization. And actually, the Zzak G Applaud Our Kids Foundation is named after my dad, Zach. And everybody gets confused because it's two Z's, so they're never sure how to pronounce it. Z-Z-A-K, Zzak G. He was a singer, songwriter, opera singer, but couldn't afford to take lessons when he was a kid, and finally took his first vocal lesson. He loved to sing, and found out in his mid-30s he was an operatic tenor.
Wow.
And he had a family, and still that could not be a focus, so it was a hobby, and he loved it. And then he started writing, and unfortunately in 2015 he passed away from ALS, and on his deathbed his biggest regret was not having the opportunity to really use his creativity the way he loved and take the stage the way he wanted to. So a year and a half after he passed, my sister and I looked at each other and said, how can we do something in his honor to help those kids that were just like him? Those that don't want anybody to have that. Nobody should have the regret that they couldn't take lessons in something that they feel so connected to. So we created the Applaud Our Kids Foundation. Back in 2017, July of 2017, we became a 501c3.
That's great. Now, I can tell you I wear a similar hat. Years ago, we started the Stephen Crane House Museum in Asbury Park, and my wife and I started this nonprofit. And again, working in the nonprofit world is one thing, but starting one really gets you to understand what goes into all that and hard work. So kudos to you and your sister for really making that happen. And the other thing I wanted to mention that, it's true. And as we know, a lot of school systems have cut back on their music lessons and programs and, all that kind of thing. So you really have stepped in at the right time to really, really help, those kids that just may not otherwise have an opportunity. So that is a beautiful thing. And I am sure your dad, Zach, Z-Z-A-K, yes, looking down on you with a big smile, and he's probably belting out some really nice tunes right now.
No, I truly hope so. For sure. And we provide 100% funding. What we do is very unique. It's 100% funding for kids who could never afford to walk into a dance studio or vocal studio, and they can stay with us and be funded for up to 11 years if they still meet the financial needs requirements between the ages of 7 to 18. And what makes us unique is we place them in studios close to their homes, so they get to be with their friends in these after-school programs. And we just delivered a drum set the other day. So if they need drums, if they need a guitar, and you see the kids and the wonder in their face and how, you've made their life, right? We give out dance shoes. We actually, I'll be honest with you, Tom, you don't know what you're starting until you start it. And believe what it has done for the children that are in our program. There's so many stories of how kids now see that this is a lifeline.
Yes. And that what you just said a moment ago is so important. It's like, you don't know what you started till you start it. The important thing is that you start it. Even if you had something in mind, so many times you see same with us, we started this museum thing just to kind of keep something alive in Asbury Park back in the 90s when nobody wanted to be part of Asbury Park. Now it's the home of the Asbury Park Historical Society, and it's grown into things we would have even imagined back then. But if we didn't save it and do something with it, it would have been gone. It would have been knocked down. So same for you. You started something, you want to try this thing, and it blossoms and it does so many more things than you probably ever originally thought it would. And that's, I think, phenomenal. That's, and that's the beauty of being that type of person. It just says, well, it'd be easier not to do this, but this would be the right thing to do. And then you do it. And it starts off on whatever it starts off with, and it grows into whatever it will grow into. But, you saw the need, and it's great that you're really helping out all these kids that are really benefiting from this wonderful program.
Absolutely. And you mentioned in Asbury Park, we work closely with the Boys and Girls Clubs. Another part of our program where we saw the need too was kids didn't have transportation to their lessons. Some of the kids just don't have that. So now we provide funding for a teacher to go into the Boys and Girls Club in Asbury and in Red Bank so that they can have ongoing what we call triple threat lessons, dance, acting, singing. And we're not working closely with them, and we're doing that with other organizations too.
That's really great. That is great. That's so exciting. And I know, we support you in certain ways through the gas company, not nearly as much as I know you'd like us to, but we're stepping into that world. We're trying to help out. But again, it is a beautiful thing. And I hope some of our viewers take note and, decide to support you in one way or another as you go forward, even if just in prayers.
Absolutely. Volunteers, prayers, we'll take it all. And we're very grateful to New Jersey Natural Gas. So thank you.
Oh, you all your fans. Now, you started talking about a little bit of collaboration with like the Boys and Girls Club. Are there other organizations? And I think you mentioned some studios and things that you work with. So is there more on that we should know about?
Yeah, so we couldn't do this without our studio partners because my sister and I, we do not teach anything. It skipped a generation. My father sang, and our children sang. So we didn't. So actually the studios in all different locations all across, started in Monmouth and Ocean County. We now have kids coming to us from other counties as well. They provide the lessons, and they have to agree to, take a lesser fee than what they might get from someone who's not coming from a nonprofit organization. Big Brother Sisters has also been another great partner of ours because it's a feeder system. So if they have kids in their program, they send them our information and they become part of our program. It's a wonderful relationship.
That's great. Now, switching hats, because you're also involved with the NJBIA, right? So do you want to give us a little lowdown on what you do with that organization? And that's the
Absolutely.
Business and Industry Association, correct?
New Jersey Business and Industry Association, correct.
Yeah.
And I also, on top of that, that hat, it actually comes from the hat of being a nonprofit consultant. So I started and launched a year ago, a month before the pandemic, I launched the first ever not-for-profit council for the NJBIA. And we had a whole plan of what we were going to do and how we were going to help marry the for-profits and nonprofits and have a reinvent the conversations that they're having. And of course, we kind of had to toss that plan out, but we just reinvented that plan too. And so monthly, the not-for-profit council meets, and I'm super excited to say that we put together an event called the Collaborative Approach, Bridging the Gap for 2021. And we're bringing the for-profits and nonprofits together, and you are a part. That's another hat for you. You're a panelist. And we're really going to talk, we're having conversations on what can we talk about besides funding from the for-profits for the nonprofits, and what kind of programs can the nonprofits provide to the for-profits that they might not know about. So the conversations need to go deeper. They have to have bigger depth and breadth to them, because funding is definitely tough right now, and there's so much more that organizations can offer each other. So that's why that council was built. And the NJBIA, and for those who don't know, there's so many aspects of it. It's a membership organization, the largest employer association in the state of New Jersey. And we have 3 councils: the Not-for-Profit Council, which I lead, the Women's Business Leaders Council, and the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. We're an advocacy organization with 4 full-time government affairs officials working with our governor's office every day. Among so many other things. And there's so much to what the NJBIA does. It's a 110-year organization.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. And I think your timing was spot on, right? Because who needed help more than our nonprofits and our small businesses when the pandemic hit? So the fact that you were coordinating that and starting that, I think, was great, because again, our nonprofits need a voice, need an outlet, need an opportunity to share thoughts and grow. Again, collaboration is so important in every aspect of life, but certainly with our nonprofits. The more they collaborate and learn from each other, the stronger they all become. It's not like somebody stealing something from somebody else. You're actually all learning. You're all growing when you collaborate. And the fact that you brought that together, I think, is remarkable. And again, another. How about a feather in one of those hats that you wear, because you.
Yay.
Things. So I do think that's great, and I do think the timing was really terrific, and spot on, really, for all that we all need for our nonprofits to be successful.
Actually, I have to be honest with you, I didn't know the pandemic was going to be happening. Like none of us really knew what was
No.
going to happen. So it was kind of really interesting, the timing of the launch of that. We had our first meeting in February. We planned out the entire year, and we basically took that plan and then threw it in the garbage. And weekly calls with our nonprofits, we're getting 125 to 150 organizations across the state coming on every single week because they needed that to feel connected to something. And I just, one thing that you said that I think is really important, nonprofits collaborating and not being afraid is so key and so important. And I think funders want to see that because it makes the programs more holistic. And I think funders like to see that. And coming from your organization, I'm sure that's something that you like to see as well.
Absolutely. It just shows that folks are thinking out of the box. They're working together. And again, the more the merrier kind of thing. And it means that if we're able to donate dollars or in-kind products, it's going to go further when you're working with organizations that are working together. It's really smart business for our nonprofits.
Yeah. And that's what I'm doing also on my own as a nonprofit consultant, is working with nonprofits to really talk about how they're having conversations with the for-profit organizations and other nonprofit collaborations.
Right. So now, if you don't mind, shift to yet another hat of yours with your podcast program and that work. So again, similar things, we're trying to do these things to get information out to people that need it. So tell us a little bit about that operation.
So Today is the Day Changemakers was launched December 30th of 2020. So that was a very interesting timing. It was something I put on the back burner for 5 years. It was something I wanted to do 5 years ago. And I woke up one day, probably in September timeframe, and said, I need to pick this back up. We need to have inspirational stories shared from all over the world, from all over the country, from the state. And here, because we're in such a strange place right now, there's so much negativity out there, and there's so many people doing amazing work. And I interview people from authors to musicians who are celebrity musicians to CEOs of nonprofits. And my focus is definitely looking at those who are making a difference in their corner of the world. And that's why it's called Today is the Day Changemakers. And it's not about whether you're the CEO. It doesn't matter what level within an organization. If you're a change maker and you are trying to do something to help someone or help others, I want to talk to you, and I want to see what you're doing. So many people feel stuck. So I'm trying to help people get a little bit of inspiration.
That's great. Now, again, it's amazing all the different hats you're wearing, and that is yet another. And I know you said you were talking to people from California, London, whatever, with your change makers. So I think that's another exceptional element of the many hats that you wear. So that's great. As we close up here, just one thing I'd like to ask you is what are the contacts that people, like websites, if people want to get involved or support or donate, whatever it might be, can you run down those contacts real quick?
Sure, no problem. It's I know there's so many. applaudourkids.org. That's easy, and it's applaudourkids, kids.org. If you want to reach out to me, it's Jodi, Jodi at applaudourkids.org. We are on social media. We're all over Facebook and Instagram. And Today is the Day. Live It is on Facebook and Instagram for the nonprofit consulting piece that I do. The podcast, Today is the Day Changemakers, is streaming on all popular sites, and there's a YouTube channel as well, so you get to see video like you see here. And either way, Jodi at todayisthedayliveit.com, Jodi at applaudourkids.org.
Okay.
For me, I'm all over social media as well.
Okay, that's great. And they could get to you for NJBIA stuff through those too. Good.
NJBIA.org is a website, and I say everybody take a look and see what the benefits are. And it's Jodi Grinwald at NJBIA.org. There's lots of email addresses, Tom. I feel very bad for everybody.
It's okay. Well, they'll put them up so the people will see them. But we want to say again, thank you, Jodi, for your time. We appreciate it. And to our viewers, thank you for your time, and hope you come back to SCAN's Community Connections in the future. Take care.
Thank you.
Yep. And we're going into a break now, a commercial break, and we'll be right back after that.
At the Save Green Project from New Jersey Natural Gas, we're bringing you rebates and incentives, including 0% APR financing, right on your natural gas bill to help make energy efficiency affordable. And with the possibility of no upfront costs and special incentives for moderate income customers, investing in equipment upgrades doesn't have to be out of reach. Go to SaveGreenProject.com for details on available rebates and incentives to help you upgrade to energy-efficient HVAC and water heating equipment. You could also be eligible for thousands of dollars in incentives for seal-up and insulation fixes. In the long run, you could be saving money on your energy bills too. Visit us at SaveGreenProject.com. That's SaveGreenProject.com.
Hello, and welcome to SCAN's Community Connections. I'm your host, Tom Hayes. In my job, I'm Director of Customer and Community Relations at New Jersey Natural Gas. But now I get to be the host of this wonderful show, Community Connections, again here at SCAN, where we really meet a lot of different wonderful people that do some great things in our community. And today is no exception. We have the wonderful, talented, and beautiful and spectacular Joanne Burney, who is the co-founder and executive director of the Allaire Community Farm. And welcome. It's nice to have you with us, Joanne.
Thank you, Tom. Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you too. And I'm sure Sean is doing well. Your partner in crime over there, your husband, Sean, that's your co-partner, right?
Yep, he's plowing out the farm. He's doing great.
Good, very good, very good. Well, again, just so our viewers know, I obviously know you as I know many of our guests because we're involved in the community the way we are, but you know, we've known each other for several years. In fact, it was my wife Regina that introduced me to you and Sean at the community farm. She was volunteering there for a while and all that. And again, you guys do spectacular work. Your mission's wonderful. Your concepts are great. And you know, I knew you not when you first started, but you were kind of in the infancy stages of all that you were trying to do. And I've seen how you've grown and all that. So I'm excited to talk to you about that. So our viewers have that excitement and enthusiasm to learn about all the wonderful things that you're doing at the Allaire Community Farm. So again, welcome. I appreciate your spending some time with us.
Always good to talk with you, Tom. Thank you.
So maybe we could just start with like, when did you establish the farm and what was the mission?
Okay, we established the farm in 2013 and we became a nonprofit in 2015. And that's when we really went from we had thought about having just a farm, an organic farm, and providing good, clean food for the community. And then once we started inviting the community in, we saw that there was a real need for what then became our mission, which is rescuing animals and using those rescued animals to work with special needs populations, both children and adults, teens with mental health issues. Particularly during COVID, this has been a crazy time where young people are struggling with anxiety and depression and self-harming and suicidal thoughts. And so we do a lot with that. We also saw a need for veterans that are coming back with post-traumatic stress disorder. And we have veterans on our farm regularly that go all the way back to the Vietnam War that do therapeutic riding and driving on our property. And then on Sundays, we partner with Whole Foods, which they're a mile down the road, and we do a food bank for local families battling cancer. And since COVID, we've also provide for local families that are struggling as a result of losing their income. So that's basically the mission in a nutshell.
That's great, which is an amazing mission. And again, I've experienced some of those features and a lot of the crazy stuff that you guys have to do. I don't know if you recall the time. I know you had to go to the fair, and Regina and I helped you get over to the fair and whatever the heck we were doing there. A little bit of everything, because it's like all hands on deck with you guys, because you do such good work and try to help in every way you can and try to get exposure so more people can know about what all the wonderful things you do. But it's a remarkable outfit, and the amount of work that you have to do every day to get all this stuff to happen is phenomenal. And you guys are doing a great job with all that.
Well, I have to say, Sean and I get the accolades, but if it weren't for our 200 plus volunteers, we would not be where we are today. We were blessed to be able to purchase our own property in 2018. Prior to that, we rented, and the facility really was lacking in indoor facilities and quality facilities for our programs. But since we've purchased our own property on Bailey's Corner Road, it's 25.5 acres. We've put up 11 buildings to date, and we have 3 more to go. and we just received a very large donation to finish the project off. So we are thrilled. Probably within the next 2 weeks, our indoor riding arena will begin to be built. From there, we'll put an annex on that will connect that building to our 20-stall barn that we put up last winter. And we also have received funds for the Learning Resource Center. And that's going to be a year-round building with a commercial kitchen in it, so we can work with our populations in the kitchen. Also, First Energy has given us significant donation to sponsor the community room within there. And here's the best part, people, we're gonna have running bathrooms on the property. So we're just really excited. So by the end of the summer, I would say the project will be complete. And we're just so excited to have been able to do that in the short time we've been around as a nonprofit, 8 years now total. So we're really thrilled about that.
That is great. And again, you know, knowing you guys for a while and being supportive of ourselves as a company and all that, you just do an amazing job. And, you know, I know we've had volunteers out there to help and all that kind of stuff. And we'll talk about a little bit that as we go in a little bit further, because I know you could always use volunteers. So
yes, absolutely.
So now, before we were talking a little bit, you did mention a little hint of where you're located. Well, now you say your address, which is good, but you said you're just a mile down from Whole Foods, and that's in Wall, right? Of like near Heights and all that right there. So give folks a little more information about how they would find you right there in that spot.
Probably the easiest way to find us is we're right across the street from the Wall Township Municipal Center on Bailey's Corner Road. So if you were going to go to the library or to a soccer game, you would pass our farm on the left and the municipal center's on the right. And there's a big sign out there in the shape of a barn that says Allaire Community Farm. Pull right on in, and there's a beautiful parking lot there. And then you enter through our farm market. And once you get onto the property, it's 25 acres. You would never know that you're in the middle of the basically downtown Wall Township, because it's just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, that's great. That is amazing. And for those of our viewers that might have known you in your prior location, you're basically adjacent to the old property, but instead of being on, I guess, Allaire Road, you're now on Bailey's Corner. So you're just, you know, right in that same vicinity for those of you that might have known the Allaire Community Farm and its prior location.
Yep, we're right around the corner. Actually, when we moved over to this property, we actually put a gate between the two farms, and all the animals came through that way. It was kind of like a recreation of Noah's Ark. It was great.
Yes, the land version of Noah's Ark.
That's right. That's right. The last one over was the 900-pound pig.
Oh, wow. It is amazing. And again, it is an interesting array of animals that you have rescued and that you do have there, and which is great. But you know, you talked about special needs populations. So tell us a little bit more about those programs that you have for those clients or those visitors.
Yeah, that's a great question, Tom. Our special needs programs, although we do class trips and we have a lot of special needs schools come during the week, probably prior to COVID, 10 to 15 special needs schools would come, and the young people would participate with the animals, go on a class trip, volunteer. Our big focus after meeting with Congressman Smith, after he passed his latest autism bill, was to really focus on the aged out populations. And that's 21 and older, when the young people have to leave the school system. And so this year we started, actually in the midst of COVID, we started it anyway, called a program called the HOPE program. And that stands for Harvesting Occupational and Personal Excellence. And what that is it's a pre-employment training program for young people, because a lot of people with special needs, they will never be able to go out into the workforce until they work on a few skills first, and social anxiety, learning appropriate behavior, when to speak, when not to speak, how to engage the public when you have anxiety, how to express yourself to the general public. So we are blessed to have the director of our HOPE program is a speech therapist. We also have a physical therapist working with our program. We have certified special ed teachers. So we really have highly qualified people that work with these young people that come in. We have 8 interns at a time. We call them interns when they enter our program, and we do an individualized plan for them. And so every student that comes in, we're working on different skills and different things to help them, because the goal is for them to become employable when they graduate from our program. And after just 1 semester of this, we've already taken one young woman. Her name is Elizabeth, and she was an intern. And she is next semester, we're so thrilled to announce, she's going to be one of our teachers. She has 5 undergraduate education degrees, and she has a master's degree, but she struggled so much with the anxiety part of that. And we really worked with her. And after just 1 semester, she's ready to come on board. And she's going to be one of our learning specialists with the young people. And the unique part about that we're so excited about is she understands how the autistic brain works. So she said, you know, with construction going on at the property, you're going to need to pay attention to these noises and this and things that we would never have thought about, those of us that don't have that particular disability. So we're really excited about it. And we anticipate growing doubling the HOPE program next September. We've already received a grant for that to hire new additional teachers and learning specialists. So we're really excited about that.
That's incredible. And again, I've been around when, you know, you were like in infancy a little bit, you know, whatever, to see what you're able to do, which is great. And I know owning the property is such a key. It's just that it would make, it's night and day. It made the whole world change for you to be able to, because people even that wanted to invest in your organization felt funny when it was a property that you were leasing, as opposed to now that the organization owns the property. So that really worked in your favor and tremendously in many ways, right?
It made all the difference in the world, Tom. Everybody loved the mission of the farm, because I do believe it's divinely inspired. But you know, they didn't want to give us money to, what if our landlord said, you know, we're not going to renew your lease, and we put up all these buildings. So it never made sense. So we had to find space, and we really wanted to stay in Wall Township, and the town committee asked us to, so they actually helped us find the property we're on. And since we've purchased this property, the donations have flooded in. Every single one of the major buildings that have gone up, someone has named those buildings and purchased it. And so we have the Spring Lake 5, we have John Scheibels, we have Bob McGurr, we have Mary and Peter Grandich. The new donor just came on, Mary Ellen Harris, just wonderful, wonderful people that said, you know, we'd be happy to buy a building if that helps you guys move forward with your mission. So
yes, that's phenomenal. So getting back to your program, so you talked about special needs, but also you have programs for folks like you mentioned before a little bit about with mental health issues, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Our tagline for our farm is nurture through nature. So what we found is working with young people and adults and veterans that have emotional issues with whether they're PTSD or suicidal or self-harming. There's nothing like the environment of a farm to bring healing. So we do animal therapy, we do hippotherapy, we do therapeutic riding and driving, and we have people work in the greenhouses, get their hands into that dirt. And we partner with over 40 agencies in Monmouth County mental health to make sure that everyone in the surrounding area knows about what we do here.
That's great. Now, unfortunately, we only have about 20 seconds left. That's how much information. It's wonderful. If people wanted to contact you, how do they do it?
They go to our website. It's www.alaircommunityfarm.org. Go on there. You can volunteer, you can donate, and you can read about all of our programs.
Well, thank you, Joanne. We really appreciate that. You know, all that you do at the Alair Community Farm is just wonderful. You know, keep up the great work. And to our viewers, we really appreciate your spending time with us. And we hope to see you come back soon to another Community Connections here at SCAN. Take care.